Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video tutorial on Black Ops 3 mod tools. Now in this video we're going to be going over reflection probes. Now reflection probes are probably the most important part of your map. It helps calculate how the light bounces off of certain items, whether it's an X model, it's the floor, it's bouncing off of a texture, off of a zombie screaming his ass off, aggroed at you. It's reflection probes tend to help all of that, and especially light bleeding. So what I'm going to do in this video today is I'm going to show you guys how to add probes in the easiest way, because people tend to feel like it's the worst thing in the world, but it's actually really easy, and we're going to get it done today in a few seconds. All right, so first things first, let's make a nice little room here, because there's a few ways you can add the probes. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up a program, that way you guys can see what's happening. Okay, cool. All right, so I have this open. This little window is going to show you exactly what I'm pressing. I'm going to try to use this for all future tutorials. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick the grid I'm going to be working on. Now me, I tend to like working on grid 8, which is number 4. So I'm going to click on that. Now I'm going to drag out a box. Now I like rooms to be the same dimension on each side. So I'm going to go 8 big boxes across and 8 down. And this is actually the front view. Let me pop that down. Go from the top view. Okay, cool. All right, let me press F8 so you guys can see this. All right, so this is my floor. I already have a texture on there and everything. Thank you. All right, so I'm gonna drag out some walls. Now, whenever I make my walls, I like going 2 big boxes up, because that's a good height between the floor and the ceiling. So there we go. Let me go from top view. Let me copy this, move this over. Now, whenever I make my walls, I like going 1 box away from the edge. Now I'm going to show you why I do that. There we go. All right, so we got a floor and we got 4 walls. Now the reason I do that is because I don't want the edge finishing off over there, because it'll cut off the way the texture is looking. So if you have your textures trying to look aligned, you're going to want to do that so it won't look off. And then what I do is I add a little square box at the end just to close it out. All right. Okay, cool. So we got a nice little room here. Now I'm going to drag out a ceiling. There we go. And of course, I'm going to need a sun volume so I can show you guys the light being compiled here. Actually, let me just put that right there. Okay. Now if I press F8, of course I don't have a sun volume, so let me put that in. There we go. All right. Okay, here's my room. Now if I press F8, I can go to full light mode, and I'm going to compile the lighting. Now because I don't have a reflection probe, that's showing that I'm getting some light bleeding. Let me fix that so we don't hear that. Preferences, system, and it's because it's saving every 5 minutes. Let me turn off that autosave. All right, cool. All right, so as you can see, I'm getting some light bleeding. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a reflection probe. So right click, go to reflection probe. Actually, let me just break it down real quick. Press B on the keyboard so to bring up your entity browser. Now there's 2 types of probes and 2 types of lights. The ones you want to use are the ones that are under unsorted. So there's light, and then there's reflection probe. Now if you want to right click on the camera view and then have the light and the probe show up here, what you want to do is you want to highlight it, right click, and go to toggle favorite. That way when you right click, it'll always show up there. So those are the ones you want to use. The other ones you don't want to use are the ones that are called, or at least under build. There's a light and a probe. So don't use these. Use the ones under unsorted. All right, so now let's add a reflection probe. There we go. Let's put this bad boy in the center. There we go. Now, whenever you're adding your probes, try to put them in the center of the room because the probes work like an eyeball. So you want to make sure that it's seeing each part you want it to calculate the lighting. You don't want to have your probe on the side like this. You know, it's just a sloppy way of doing it. So try to make sure it's right in the center so it can calculate the lighting perfectly. You know, because if you have an item in the way, it's not going to calculate it. And then also, like, let's say if you have a long ass hallway, like let's say if these walls weren't here and it was extended out here, you don't want to have one probe. You want to have a few. That way it'll catch it exactly. It's the same thing as if it's your eyeball and you're in a room and there's 2 rooms to the left. You know, you're going to have to move up a little bit just to get a good look at it. So you got to treat the probe the same way. All right, so normally whenever anybody puts in a probe, they go from a top view, they drag it out. This is kind of tedious, kind of takes long. But it gets the job done. Now me, I don't like doing this. What I like doing is I go inside of the probe. You make sure you're inside of it. You can see it right here. You hold control and you left click and you select the wall. Select the floor, select the ceiling, you're done. That's the quickest way of adding a probe. Now let's build the lighting. Let's see how this looks. Now as you can see, the walls are looking better, the color's more flushed out, but we're still getting light bleeding. Now the reason we're still getting light bleeding is either because you have to switch out your SSI, meaning you have to switch to 1 and then switch back to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to step out, select the sun volume, press N on the keyboard, and then we're going to, right now it's set to default day. So I'm going to change this. Let's just put it to any one. Let's go inside of it. See, it's all bright now. Let's build the lighting. Just give it a quick sec. There we go. As you can see, there's no light bleeding. It's completely dark. Now let's step back out. Let's put it back on default day. Oops, wrong one. Shoot. There we go. Default day. And now let's build the lighting again. There we go. It fixed that issue. So now we're on default day and we're not getting any light bleeding. It's completely dark. That's perfect. All right, now let's say if you have a doorway. Let me make one real quick. Press X so I can cut it. Shift, press enter. We cut this part right here. Move this piece up. There we go. Now let's go back into F8, build the lighting again. All right, everything's cool, right? No light bleeding. Now, as you can see, the probe isn't catching this part right over here. Now, what you don't want to do is you don't want to take the probe and drag it out. That's not going to be the best way of working with it. What you want to do is you want to leave it the way it is. You want to hold Control and Shift and left click on this box that's against the wall and move it outward. And as you can see on the 2D window, you can see that it's passing it. So there you go. Now it's past it. Build the lighting again. And there we go. We don't have that issue. Now that's one way of adding probes. And this is for this certain type of probe. So like let's say if we have a wall that has more than 4 walls, or at least a room that has more than 4 walls, not counting the ceiling and the floor. So let's make a new one right now, real quick. All right, so I'm gonna check this out right here. There we go. All right, now I'm gonna copy that, move it up, copy this one, move it down. Now I'm gonna press E on the keyboard. I'm gonna move this over. There we go. Select this one, press E, move it up. There we go. Now I'm gonna drag out another wall. We select these. Hold Shift, press D, rotate it around. Put that in position and drag out another wall. There we go. Okay, so now we have, let's see where's that at? Okay, we have a room with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 walls. So let's make a floor. And we'll also use that for the ceiling. All right, cool. All right, so now if I extend this sun volume out, so it'll catch this side too. There we go. All right, so now let's go inside of it and let's build the lighting. Okay, as you can see, we're getting light bleeding because there is no probe in here. Now we're going to add another probe into this type of room. So pop that in, try to put that right in the center. Now, instead of like a regular wall, or at least a regular room, we have more than 4 sides. So what we're going to do is we're going to press N on the keyboard, and right over here with the reflection probe selected, it's going to say box right over here, and it says true. Probe is represented as a box instead of an arbitrary plane. So we're going to uncheck this. When you do that, this little square pops up right over here, this shaded square. So now with the probe selected, hold Control, click on the wall. You'll see that a face is going to pop up. Select this one. There's another one. There we go. Until you have it closed up. And there we go. Is that each side? I don't think that is. There we go. Now that's each side. Now select the ceiling, select the floor, and there you have it. It's perfectly complete. And that's how you add a reflection probe on a room like this. So you don't have to add multiple probes. And then you would just build the lighting and it would be the exact same thing. So if you guys like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.